Okay, so I wanted to just talk to you guys about what it means to be in full acceptance of your life and being in the full present moment and how wonderful that is. I think inside of the world that we live in now, we have access to so much information and we have a first-hand view in the lives of other people. No one, at least not a lot of us, are posting lives or snapshots of our lives that look negative or bad or anything like that. For the most part, a lot of us are only showing the highlight reel of our lives. And I think that while the intention of social media was set up to be a way for us to connect to one another, I think that it's easy for social media to trigger feelings of lack inside of folks. It can trigger egos inside of each other. And what the ego is really doing is trying to find a way for you to feel either inferior or superior to, whoever else. So when you feel inferior, the ego says, I am not at peace and I cannot be at peace until I have this thing. Um, when the ego feels superior to others, it says, look at what I have, look at what I'm doing. You're doing something wrong, or I'm better than you because of that. And I think that this separation that we have that is triggered by the ego, it is something that can be easily combated. And I think that it's important for us to be super mindful and super aware and for us to share with each other practices and ways for us to overcome the ego and feel that much more connected to one another. What I've talked about on my channel for the last couple of days is what it means to be in the eternal present moment. And I'm going to continue to talk about that, especially while I'm reading A New Earth. Eckhart Tolle is really good about reminding folks that when you remove language, when you remove labels from things and energy and one another, then it's easier for you to connect to that thing or to that person. And when you allow yourself to be fully in the present moment and existing inside of the present moment without judgment, without like feeling completely indifferent to the moment and what's happening, and not operating from the mindset of being in the past or being in the future, you really can feel freedom inside of that place. And I think a lot of this freedom comes from fully accepting where you are today. I had a thought this morning about what it would mean if this was it. If the life that I'm living today, where I'm working a 9 to 5 and I'm living in a 2 bedroom apartment with my husband and my 2 kids, and I am continuing to make content online and, all of the other things that are happening in my life, like, what if this is as good as it gets? How would I carry myself if I knew that this is as great as my life was going to be? And I kind of thought to myself that, you know what, if I knew for a fact that this is as great as my life was going to be, it was not going to get any better. It didn't matter if I bought the newest trendy thing or if I went on the latest diet or I tried to get another job or anything like that, like it would not matter. This is as good as my life is going to get. Like how would I carry myself inside of that? And I kind of told myself, you know what? If I knew that, then I would be grateful, and I would be thankful, and I would cherish the small things. I would cherish every moment that I had, because at the end of the day, I would not have a longing. I wouldn't feel like there is some lingering potential future that, or just potential, just in general, I wouldn't feel like there's just this lingering potential that I need to reach. I'm already there, I've already arrived. And I really think that there is some freedom in feeling like you're already there, you've already arrived, this is as good as it gets. And I think for the ego, that would be disheartening. But for my soul and my spirit, it's comforting, and it feels like acceptance, and it feels like power. It feels like I'm reclaiming my power over my mind. Like I don't have to spend a lot of emotional time and emotional energy on what hasn't happened yet. So, yeah, I just think that I just say all that to say and remind you guys that it is really important to focus on what it means to exist and be excited about existing. And if and I want to make sure that I also call this out, because I think it can be dangerous to tell people to just be thankful where they are, because there could be some people that are in very dangerous, hurtful situations. And I don't believe being thankful that you're existing means that you never have a desire, that you never strive for more. I think that it means to focus on the actions and existing in the actions without having any expectations on receiving any outcome. And there's going to be a time where I can figure out a best way to connect this to what it means to not label things, and to remove the language associated with whatever it is that you're experiencing. Like, there's going to be a day where I'm going to be able to articulate that well, and unfortunately it's not today. But I do feel like there is power in removing language, because we have so much programming that is associated with certain language. So, like, for example, I have I have lived my life not liking snow. I mean, that's just what it is. That's why I live in the South, because I personally have not had the greatest experiences with snow. And I think that when you, if I was to just remove the language and just look at it strictly as an energy, and I removed the association and the programming that I have, the pre-programming that I have in my mind in regards to this energetic thing, then it just exists as it is. It's really nothing. It's something that's insignificant, and it's something that you deal with when you have to deal with. But when you take away the language, you take away the programming. And when you take away the programming, you take away the power. When you have certain programming in your mind associated with certain words and certain themes, then that programming has power over you. You know what I mean? There's some people that all you have to do is say Republican, and it completely triggers this beast inside of them. This emotional beast just completely comes out and they just can't control it. And it's the same thing with like sports. If you say a sports team to somebody, it triggers a programming inside of their mind, and that programming has control over them. So there is something powerful when you remove language, but I think the ultimate power is recognizing when there's programming in you that gets triggered without someone having to do anything. All someone would have to do is say a word, and it automatically activates a programming within you, a programming within your ego that takes you from being at one particular vibration to another. And that is another habit or an awareness that I have been practicing lately, is that when I see something that feels like, that feels like programming. When I see that and I feel that, then now I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it, but this is what I say to myself. I say, I would like to erase that programming. I say that to myself. I would like to deactivate that programming. Let's deactivate that. Because I want to have keep complete control and complete power over the way that I react to things. And what it also does, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, is when that programming gets activated, it takes you to the past or it takes you to the future. It takes you out of the present. It propels you into whatever version of yourself existed in that timeline, or that particular, what am I trying to say? It propels you into that moment in time, and it takes you out of the present moment. And anything that takes you out of the present moment is not doing you any favors. So if you want to be the greatest version of yourself, then you have to maintain the version of yourself that is existing at this moment. Moving into allowing programming to propel you into another timeline, another state of mind, you no longer have control. And this is all about having control, because whoever has the control has the power. What you are able to put your attention on has power. There is, I can't remember the episode, but there's a show called American Gods, and I think that show, as well as the movie Coco, and maybe I'll make a video about this, they describe and it talks about exactly what it means for your attention and your memories to hold power, and how these entities inside of Coco, it is their ancestors. Inside of American Gods, it is spirits and deities. But what it is that when you are existing in the world and you are existing as a human being, you have power through your attention. So whatever it is that you pay attention to, whatever it is that you focus on, you are giving power. So that is why your ego and these alternate versions of yourself are constantly trying to propel you out of the present and into these different timelines and into these different places, because when you do that, you give it power. And anything that has power over you is not going to release that power easily. You have to be constantly aware. And I think that's why I also recognize that it is important for us, people that are spirit workers, people that are divine intuitives, you have to constantly be sharing your wisdom, constantly be posting, because we are in a time where information is constantly being shared. And if you want to bring the paradigm and you want to bring consciousness up, you have to be working hard. We all have to be working very hard, which means creating a constant feed of positivity, spiritual awareness, spiritual mastery, so that we are constantly putting that in the attention and focus of universal consciousness. Like, if we want to raise the consciousness of the earth and of others, we have to constantly be putting it out there. It is all of our responsibility. So, yes, with that, I think I'll go ahead and end this video. Please comment if you have any thoughts to share. Bye.